in the last week. On the site, the tank farm, it's more secure than it was, and ITC Incident Commander Brent Weber will share some more details about that. Tucker's Bayou is much cleaner than it is a week ago. Buffalo Bayou and Harris Ship Channel is much cleaner. We've recovered quite a bit of oil and product from the waterways. Captain Odin will be sharing some details about that. We continue to do air monitoring on the ground. We have resources, air monitoring teams that are downwind. So today the winds are out of the northwest, so we have teams southeast of the incident location. Tomorrow at some point, the winds are going to shift and come out of the south, and so we'll shift our teams, our ground units, around to the north, so we can watch for any potential concentration, elevated measurements in the community. If we do get any, let the train pass. If we do get any measurements above 1 part per million, we'll notify Unified Command and disseminate that information down to the local governments to take appropriate action, whether it's shelter in place or evacuation. To date, since you guys were here last, we haven't had any air monitoring measurements above 1 part per million that warranted a notification to the local government. As far as wildlife, so far we have 21 animals that were recovered in the impacted area and have entered into rehabilitation. Of the 25, 4 of those were turtles, red ear sliders, and 1 snapper turtle. 21 were birds. Of the 21 birds, 6 of them were died during rehab, and then the other 16, there's 5 that died, and then 16 that are being cleaned. Of the 16 that were being cleaned, 11 are ready to be released, so that's good. We also recovered 48 animals in the impacted area that were dead on arrival. That was 5 turtles, red ear sliders, 6 possums, 15 birds, and 21 fish. None of the animals that have been observed or recovered from the impacted area were endangered species, so that's good. We continue to work closely with our other federal agencies, U.S. Coast Guard, NOAA, DOI. We continue to work closely and appreciate the communication with our state, county, and local government authorities, TCEQ, Harris County, and we appreciate that teamwork that we have. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Captain Kevin Odit, Coast Guard Incident Commander. On the Houston Ship Channel, last week, none of the inbound ships required decontamination. Because of that, on Friday, I was able to remove the daylight restrictions for inbound ship traffic as well as inbound tow traffic. This is significant because it has allowed the Houston pilots now to bring ships in and operate 24 hours a day. So yesterday they were able to move 37 deep draft ships, so it's nearly at capacity for typical traffic on this part of the Houston Ship Channel. This weekend we secured operations on Sunday at 10 a.m. for the first responders to ensure their safety when the storm blew through this region. Immediately following the storm, they were able to get out on the water and assess any impact, and there was minimal to no impact. Some of the boom did break free from its moorings. They were able to replace the boom and able to get the ship channel opened. We continue to focus on the waterside recovery operations on Tucker's Bayou, Patrick's Bayou, Jacinto Port, the Old River, and Bosco. To date, we've recovered nearly 120,000 barrels of contaminated water. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Chris Viatric with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. TCEQ surface water quality teams continue taking daily water samples as weather allows. Samples are being collected to determine if waters in the ship channel in Galveston Bay have been impacted by the release from the ITC site. TCEQ teams collected water samples from 13 sites yesterday. TCEQ continues to assess the data as laboratory results are received. Also, TCEQ TCEQ crews continue to conduct 24-hour real-time air monitoring to share with Unified Command and local governmental officials and the public. Teams of TCEQ regional investigators and TCEQ contractors are continuing to conduct odor surveys and air monitoring throughout the community. Recent readings collected by field teams remain low and below action levels. TCEQ continues to post information as air monitoring and water quality data becomes available. Drinking water information is also now available on the website. The public can view the latest results on the TCEQ public website at tceq.texas.gov. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Brent Weber of ITC and Incident Command. The teams continue to make good progress, both in the tank farm and on the waterways. Our focus over the last few days has been removing final product heels and the final material that remain in some of the tanks. We have been able to start the cleaning process on tanks 80-2 and 80-3. We were able to get some emission control devices on tanks 80-13, 14, and 15. And so now our focus is really on the final product removal out of the tanks. Small heels of material in the tanks left, and we're starting to expedite that process as quickly and safely as we can. We are coordinating our activities with some of the agencies that have ongoing investigations, and as always, our goal is to do these activities without impacting our community and our responders and our industrial neighbors. Thank you.
We'll take the questions now.
After the storm on Sunday, there was some fear in the community that this foam could go to their neighborhoods. Is this toxic? What are they dealing with, or if there was any spread of the foam into the neighborhoods?
So as far as the storm, it did not negatively impact the response efforts. It actually helped the response efforts. What it did was it flushed the drainage pathway and any product into our recovery locations. It also suppresses vapor, so that was a positive as well across the board. As far as the potential for foam in the community, if you have foam in your yard, it's believed that it's non-toxic, but what you should do if you observe it is contact the ITC CARES hotline and notify them, and they'll come out and assess the situation.
Can you translate that? What does it mean that the storm flushed drainage pathways and suppressed?
Sure. So you have the tank farm, and then there's a ditch that runs down to Tucker's Bayou, and then Tucker's Bayou. So when the rain came, it flushes that ditch and flushes any residual product that might be in the vegetation and flushes it into Tucker's Bayou, where we have recovery operations going. So it actually helped us a great deal.
So what's the current status? How would you summarize all the information that you've given us today, and what timeline do you foresee for completion of this task?
I think the summary of our presentation today is that we're continuing to move forward. We're taking deliberative steps to recover the product in the waterways, as well as securing the tank farm, and we're doing it safely with no impact to the community.
And how much more is there left to do?
It's day by day. We respond and clean up, and we'll know when we get there.
Question for Mr. Weber. The last sort of operational update, I think we saw said there were 2 tanks idling and now. Are those still being drained or yet to be drained?
So as of right now, we have 11 tanks secure, 1 tank with 3 tanks with the base oil product that'll be lower priority, and then we have 1 tank of naphtha with a product heel. So the xylene tank has been fully drained and opened up. We'll start cleaning that tank after we finish tanks 80-2 and 3. And then the naphtha tank, 80-8, it's down to the last few inches of material. That tank's been sealed up because the investigation teams are going into the tank farm containment area. 80-8. Yeah, it still has a little hill of material in it, but we've sealed it back up so the investigation can continue. I would say days, not weeks. We're in the final stages. The bulk material, the liquid, has been removed across the tank farm, and now we're in the final stages of getting that last final product heel out of the majority of the tanks.
Where are you sending the product? Where is this product going?
So all the product that's recovered both from the water and from the tank farm is going into other tanks in our terminal that are designed to store this material. And then we will work with the government agencies for a proper path forward.
Which could include.
It could include a disposal or processing.
Other questions?
What has been the cause of death of the animals that you found?
I'm sorry?
The cause of death of the animals that you found?
I couldn't tell you. They were observed in the impacted area and recovered either dead on arrival, or they were recovered and entered into rehabilitation. The wildlife team would have to give you specifics on what the actual cause was.
Any others? Thank you very much for coming out today.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.